we're talking about more than 500,000 people who are going to lose essential services for just survival. And I also want to say people will die.
Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday talking about the so-called big, beautiful bill, critical of what he says is going to be people being kicked off of health insurance and food benefits and safety net hospitals and the like. As that big, beautiful bill goes through the Congress, there's a lot of pushback, and we'll see just how far it goes. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we bring you the latest of what's going on in the land of Lincoln. I just saw somebody saying that they watch every morning from Florida. A former Illinoisan watching every morning from Florida. That's always fascinating. But the so-called big, beautiful bill, it's got all kinds of stuff in it, right? It's a huge bill. It's like almost 1,000 pages. They've been debating it in the House. It passed the House, went over to the U.S. Senate. They then had a bunch of amendments that they're going to kick back over to the House. They did kick that back over to the House, and the House is going to take that up soon. If you look at this is actually kind of fascinating. I did on X make a list of all of the congressional delegation from Illinois, and it's kind of fascinating because they're all heading back to Washington, D.C., at least those in the House. So you can see here, Sean Casten, Darren LaHood, he says, in under 6 months, the Trump administration and House GOP ended the rampant flow of drugs. The one beautiful big bill ensures that our border remains secure by investing in our Border Patrol agents. But what I wanted to show you is earlier this morning, a lot of these types of videos. Raja Krishnamurthy, who's also, I believe, is he eyeing the Senate seat being vacated by Durbin? Anyways, Congressman Krishnamurthy has been sharing all morning how he's on his way back to D.C. He's traveling. It's early morning. They had their flight canceled because of weather, but he did it. They're back in D.C. He's going to represent the people of Illinois, and he's going to try to stop this particular bill from advancing out of the House and onto the president's desk. So Krishnamurthy on the way. You even had videos being shared by Eric Sorensen. If I can get through all of these videos of Raja Krishnamurthy talking in the back seat of his car. Let's see here. Who else? There he is at a car. Krishnamurthy filling up at a gas station. Mike Quigley talking about how he also is heading back to Washington, D.C. So it's interesting to see this list from time to time. So I'm glad I cultivated that so we can quickly reflect on it. But the big, beautiful bill, what does it do? As the House Republicans get ready to take this up, go to thecentersquare.com and you can see that they've got their final push on here. All right. So you've got the U.S. House of Representatives Tuesday afternoon launching the final portion of legislative process to make President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill law. After the Senate narrowly passed the sweeping tax and spending cuts package Tuesday on a tie-breaking vote from Vice President J.D. Vance, House Rules Committee Chairperson Virginia Foxx from North Carolina immediately called the panel into session, a prerequisite for the legislation moving to the floor. Now, Republicans defend their bill in front of the panel, arguing that it reduced taxes for working Americans and tackles waste, fraud, and abuse at the government levels. Now, Democrats, however, blasted the legislation for its cuts to federal Medicaid funding and cited an analysis from the Congressional Budget Office that it would have an estimated 11.8 million Americans lose health care if the bill is signed into law. So yesterday, Governor J.B. Pritzker was asked about this at an unrelated news conference, but it was about health care. He signed a couple of health care provisions we'll talk about in a different segment here. But here's the governor reacting to the so-called big, beautiful bill.
And it's going to be very hard to recover. The state of Illinois can't cover the cost. No state in the country can cover the cost of reinstating that health insurance that is today paid for mostly by the federal government, partially by state government.
So obviously, if there's some restrictions of Medicaid funding to Illinois, could mean that Illinois is going to have to pay more for it out of state tax dollars, not federal tax dollars. Pritzker says that he predicts it's not going to be good for individuals and, well, their lives.
We're talking about more than 500,000 people who are going to lose essential services for just survival. And I also want to say people will die because this bill is going to be signed into law by the president.
Now, yesterday, the governor was at OSF Healthcare in Peoria, and he was asked about how hospitals are going to be impacted by the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. According to Pritzker, he says that hospitals across the state are going to be hit pretty hard by it.
This hospital will survive, but it will be harmed. And we have critical access hospitals across central and southern Illinois that I would be surprised if we don't see closures of hospitals. We don't have enough health care as it is. Closures of hospitals.
So the governor went on to talk about how he says it's a senseless bill. It does a lot of damage, he claims, to Illinois. But it also does a whole host of other things, including trying to chip away at so-called green energy subsidies and the EV electric vehicle subsidies that go out. Now, keep in mind, a couple of things. In Illinois, Governor Pritzker removed a bunch of people from healthcare subsidies with the budget that started yesterday. He ended the health benefits for immigrant seniors. So non-citizen healthcare subsidies for people 45 up to 64, that's no longer on the books in Illinois. Those people got kicked off of their healthcare. Republicans obviously want to end the health benefits for immigrant seniors and adults program. So the adults, 65 and, or rather the seniors program, 65 and up, they're still part of the taxpayer subsidies that are going out in Illinois. But those who are 64 and under, they got kicked off by the governor. So the governor is saying that, the federal bill is going to do that. I mean, in Illinois, the governor's budget that just started yesterday kicks people off at healthcare. So the energy issue as well is interesting because you've got the governor saying that the reduction of subsidies for so-called renewable energy is going to lead to job losses. The governor's budget that was signed also reduces the state's EV subsidy or EV rebate. So that's kind of an interesting, side by side that you can kind of look at here. But here's the governor talking about the impacts he believes the so-called Big Beautiful Bill will have on the energy sector.
It's bad for energy production. It's also bad for the climate. It's bad for clean energy. What else need I say? I mean, it's going to create job loss, more so, I think, in other states than in ours, but we'll see thousands of people lose their jobs in Illinois as a result of what they're passing. And that's just in the energy space, I might add. So I'm concerned about our ability to meet the goals that I think many of us have for the country, let alone for the state of Illinois. But I am also hopeful that there will be change that comes about sooner rather than later. I think about the 26 elections. I think about the 28 elections. And the need to restore sanity to our energy policies.
So the governor's saying there needs to be sanity restored. Republicans are the ones that are saying that it's policies Pritzker enacted that are not sane. Closing down coal-fired power plants, they say, while China's building coal-fired power plants every day, getting rid of gas-powered vehicles would hurt
if
rural
we don't
Illinoisans,
make a lot of effort,
and a whole host of other criticisms that Republicans have of the governor's energy policies. Subsidies for wind and solar, the increased reliability on that, while baseload energy is being taken off the line, and you've got increased energy needs for data centers and AI and quantum computing. So a lot to say about all of that. But one thing also that the governor talked about when regards to the impacts of the Big Beautiful Bill on Illinois, he says they may have to come back for a special session to deal with some of these things after President Donald Trump possibly signs the Big Beautiful Bill, either July 4th, Independence Day, or sometime thereafter.
And may have to in special session, or we may have to in veto session. It's a little hard to tell yet. Some of the provisions in this terrible bill in Washington, D.C. don't go into effect until next year. And so we'll have to evaluate what changes we have to make in order to deal with it.
So we'll see if the governor does indeed do a special session, or if the House is going to have to call a special session, or the Senate, or how they ultimately go about that. But listen, this 940-page document, this big, beautiful bill, as it's being called. Get to thecentersquare.com. Go to the national page, and you'll be able to see some of the reporting that the team from the Center Square has been doing. But it's implements a bulk of President Donald Trump's political agenda. No tax on tips and a whole host of other things. While the Senate mostly retained the House's national security infrastructure funding, policies boosting fossil fuel energy production, and student loan repayment plan overhaul, it meddled in most every other area of the bill. One of the major sticking points now is the Senate's adoption of the current policy baseline, an accounting method never before used in the budget reconciliation process to score tax cut costs. Using the baseline rather than the House's current law baseline theoretically zeroes out about 90% of the bill's projected 10-year $3.3 trillion cost, allowing tax cut permanence and negating the need for Senate committees to find hundreds of billions of dollars in offsets. The Senate bill makes permanent the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, boosting the maximum standard deduction and cross-bracket tax cuts, the 20% qualified business income deduction, and the $2,000 child tax credit. Through the Senate reduced, they reduced the House's 4-year $500 boost to $200. You can go through and see all the other provisions here, right? Tax credits become permanent as well, full reimbursement for new capital investments. It's a whole host of things that are going to impact taxpayers. So how this plays out in the next few days will be interesting, but clearly you've got both sides of the aisle for your congressional delegation from Illinois, essentially where you'd expect them to be. Congressman Darren LaHood posting on X, the One Big Beautiful Bill is one of the most pro-worker pieces of legislation in history. Congressional Republicans' bill boosts take-home pay for millions while eliminating taxes on overtime for those working hourly jobs, including our law enforcement and first responders. Democrats posting that they're going to do what they can to vote against this, but it's also got some Republicans that are pushing back as well, including, of course, Thomas Massie, a congressman from Kentucky. Get to thecentersquare.com. Sign up for the newsletter so that you can stay plugged into how this plays out in Washington, D.C., and how Illinois is reacting to it. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning for more Illinois in Focus Daily.